Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week 22 of tracking the shifting real estate market here in Burlington, Camden, Gloucester counties, 900,000 and below. So this week we have a couple different narratives going on at the moment. First off, we had a lowest record of all year. We had a highest record of all year. We lost our golden ratio, which kind of stinks. But we finally have all the May totals in, so we can do our May averages and then cross-reference that against how we've done the previous 4 months of the year. So just starting with those two records. First, expireds, withdrawns, canceled. We're at an all-time lowest. And remember, expired is, I get to the end of a 6-month listing period, home doesn't sell, it expires. Withdrawn, we pull it off the market at some point, maybe with intention of putting it back on, but it's withdrawn. And then cancel just means we cancel the listing agreement. So most of the time you only get to that point if your inventory's kind of been sitting, it's not attractive, nobody's really looking for that. It might be a slightly harder sale, slightly more distressed sale. But the fact that that number is at the lowest that it's been tells me that buyers are getting desperate and are willing to take on some of these more problematic, troublesome listings at the end of their period or at the end of the kind of value that they are used to getting relative to some of the other homes on the market. So that's interesting to see that that's lowest. The other extreme we have kind of points out the same narrative, and that's that our median list price for the first time this year is at its absolute highest. Now, we had seen, and our red graph here to the right for anybody watching, I know it's a little tricky on mobile sometimes if you're just audio only, median list price week 12 through 17, 320, right? $320,000. 18 to 21, week 18 to 21, we were right at $325,000. This week we're up to 326 with, unchanged 681, right? So we have seen our prices steadily increasing, right? So that we have seen, and I was listening to a really good spot, the CEO of Redfin, who is a competing brokerage to Keller Williams, but I think he's a really intelligent kind of economist approach to real estate, which is why I sort of like him from this vantage point. One of the things he said is that prices are being sticky right now. The Fed, when they raised the interest rates, wanted to bring prices back down. We have not seen that. It has not taken the desired effect from the intent of the rate increase onto the translation of decreasing the prices of homes. It's actually just created a little bit more of a frenzy, and those prices have stayed up. Now, what we have seen in terms of that golden ratio that we broke. So, okay, yeah, lowest, expired, withdrawn, or canceled. Our prices are up. Very much a continuation of the theme that we've sort of seen. Low inventory, high price, fast, right? We know all of that. That's not any different. But what we broke this week that was working so nicely for us the past 3 weeks was that we had sort of that golden ratio where our new listings coming on the market were higher than our under contracts or pendings, and that number, the pending and under contracts, was higher than the closed, right? And this was going to naturally start to add a little bit more healthy inventory back to the market for more options. That kind of got a little role reversed. Where we took probably the biggest hit was in the new listings coming on market, where we had a reduction of almost a third of all available listings that were available last week were available this week. So a dropped only, 2/3 of what's available, a third lost, basically, is what we had, from 332 down to 225. That's a big jump down. Our pending stayed almost even, 297 to 299. So almost even on the under contract. So the speed of things actually still going under contract is the same. And then our closing units fell off a little bit. Our close had fallen off a good bit since even really the beginning of May. I mean, we had almost 402 closed that 1 month, and we've dropped down to 233. So only a couple week difference and already dropping, a good bit there. And again, our under contracts being higher than our new listings, again, that's just eating into that available inventory, which we really don't like to see. Now, as we start to look at just some of the total averages, right? Total active listings in January, 1501, February, 1360, March, 1201, April, 1102. So a free fall, right? And we kind of remember that from the end of last year till the beginning of this year, we were on that steady decline. But now we're taking a look at May, which we've rebounded slightly, which I guess is good. But the thing is, this is supposed to be the time of the year where we're starting to see a much larger increase in those available listings. The spring market, right? The school sale, all those things are supposed to be happening at the moment. And we are just not seeing them in the amount that we really need to, or that we would want to at this time of year. So this is where I'm going to just kind of end with my notes here for a second. The one thing that I want to talk to you, and I kind of want to talk directly to you on this one. What do you do? We've talked about all the different things, interest rates this, interest rates that, and all that stuff. they're here to stay for a little bit, at least for the foreseeable future. So if you're in the market, in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and you just have to say, all right, well, how do I do this? Just how do I approach this market right now? The conversations that I'm having with people are, don't give up on your lifestyle, right? Your lifestyle is probably the most important thing about what you're going to want in that next house, the life you're going to live and how you're going to live it with the people you want to live it with, right? So try not to bend there. Amenities, right? You're still going to want to have proximity to certain things. You're still going to want to have certain features of your home, bedroom counts, bathroom counts, basements, pool, different things like that, right? Try not to bend too much on those because that's sort of the house you want. But here's where the difference comes in. Where? Location, right? Now, I grew up in South Jersey. I grew up in Cherry Hill and moved to Morristown, went to Morristown Middle School, Morristown High School. I came back here after moving west for college, and I've lived here my whole life. I'll be honest, though, it wasn't until I was a few years into real estate that I started knowing about some of these offshoot towns. Camden County has almost 80 towns. But if I asked you to name 5 towns in Camden County, I bet you 90% of you would all say the same 5. Right? Cherry Hill, different things like that. So what I want to encourage people to think about is that mess around with the map. Mess around with the map on your search. There are some towns that border the exact town that you want to be in that gives you access to almost everything that those have. It's just a town name that you might not be so familiar with, right? Mount Royals, Mount Ephraims, Diffords, different things like that aren't normally in your purvey. These might be the Shangri-La, place for you to go that still gives you the lifestyle that you want, where it still gives you the amenities at the price point that you want it, but it's just in a town that maybe you didn't grow up in, right? I mean, I grew up in Cherry Hill and grew up in Morristown. When me and my fiance started our home search, we said, why don't we, I'd love to live there. But we quickly realized the lifestyle that we wanted, the amenities we wanted at this stage of our life, where we are as working adults, we weren't going to be able to get into a price bracket in those areas where we were going to make that a match. And so we started looking elsewhere, right? I live in a small town called Runnymede. Not exactly a town I grew up knowing a lot about. But as we started really figuring out, okay, lifestyle, amenities, locations, this had everything we wanted at the price points we wanted. And it's been fantastic. And I've started to love this area, right? So here's where I leave you today. Don't give up on the lifestyle you want. The amenities, maybe you can tweak those a little bit here and there because, you can maybe put a second full bath in if you don't have one originally. But don't give up on those two just so that you can force yourself into a tiny home. Think about some of these other towns. Start doing more of a radius search as opposed to a town by town search, right? Start drawing a little polygon on your map, just saying, I generally want to be here, right? Move east and move south, right? Instead of being in Cinnaminson and Delran and right in there, as you move east, you get the Hainesport, the Lumbertons, the Mount Hollies, and things like that, where it opens up a good bit, right? If you can't be in Voorhees, well, what about Gibbsboro, right? So as you start to move a little farther south into Gloucester County, as you start to move a little bit of east into kind of, the eastern version of Camden and Burlington County, you're going to find that things start to open up a little bit more for you. And the only catch is it might add 10 minutes to your drive, right? Or it might add an extra 5 to 10 minutes to grandma's house or to somewhere, right? If for the right house, distance isn't that big of an issue. Anyway, I will leave you here for today. I'm happy to see where we landed at the end of May. We got 4 weeks left till the halfway point of the year, and I'm really excited to see where that is. So let's try and get back to our golden ratio. Let's try and hopefully keep our prices a little bit more stagnant without getting crazy. And let's, again, see if we can get more active listings. So anyway, that's going to do it for us here this week, y'all.